Kansas City Sports Update Studios. Welcome to Kingdom Radio, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. Brought to you by Arrowhead Update. Join Kris and Richard on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Player FM, CastBox, and all third-party applications. Check us out on Facebook platforms such as Kansas City Sports Update and Arrowhead Update. And if you cannot find us there, Google or search Kingdom Radio and Kansas City Chiefs, and you will find us. Welcome to the Kingdom.
Kingdom, how we doing tonight? This is Kris Chavez, and just wanted to touch base with you guys after a well-fought game. Although the Chiefs fell to the San Francisco 49ers tonight, 27-17. Just kind of want to go over or recap the game with you guys, let you guys know what you guys missed out on, or kind of talk about some things that maybe you guys saw and or didn't see. So in the first drive, the Niners were able to move the ball pretty consistently for a little while, but ultimately they got stopped on a 3rd and short, and then they went for it on 4th and 1, and Chris Jones was able to slide into the throwing lane for Garoppolo and knocked it down. Mahomes came back a couple plays later and hit Damian Williams coming out of the backfield for a huge touchdown. And Williams was able to show off his speed on the play, running away from people, making a couple cuts to get past the safety for 62 yards. It was a fantastic play. The team really came out with better energy in this game than they did last week against Pittsburgh. The Niners came back on the very next drive, and Matt Breida ended up scoring a touchdown. There was a mix-up in coverage, and Garoppolo was able to find him basically wide open in the end zone. On the Chiefs' second drive, Mahomes and company moved the ball much more methodically down the field. Mahomes was getting the ball out quicker. He really knows, or as if he knows where he's going to be going with the ball before the snap. He looks much more polished this year than he did last year, which is going to be fantastic because he's going to really be able to break down defenses even more so than he did last year. D-Train was able to work with the ones. Saw he and Darren Williams getting some time in with the first team on offense. Mahomes showed his elusiveness once again against the Niners, but unnecessarily dove instead of sliding in an attempt to get the first down. I think all of Arrowhead and everyone everywhere watching the game held their breath until Mahomes ended up getting up after that one. After that, he was pulled. He and the majority of the first team only got to see play in the first quarter. Frank Clark had a big sack on 3rd down and beat Joe Staley, which was huge. Joe Staley is definitely one of the premier tackles in the game. We saw 3 running backs in the offense for the Chiefs, but we never saw Carlos Hyde with the first team. In the second quarter, Chad Henne took over at quarterback, and he was nowhere near as crisp. He only saw one drive, and nothing really came out of it. Another observation that I had was in week 1, when Sorensen is starting and Thornhill's coming off the bench, remember this game, because Sorensen showed why he's going to be a huge value player or contributor for the Chiefs this year. Thornhill was making some rookie mistakes, which isn't a bad thing. He needs to make those so that he can look at the tape and learn from it so that he won't be making them again over and over again in the future. Meanwhile, Kyle Shurmur came in, and he made a great throw downfield to D-Rob, but the play was called back due to offensive pass interference. D-Train saw a lot of touches on that drive. He was definitely getting worked in a lot. They were really looking pretty decent. Second team defense held the Niners first team. Our second team defense held the Niners first team defense to 2 field goals in the first half. We ended up going into the halftime 13-10 with the Niners ahead. But given how our second team defense was at least holding them out of the end zone, that was pretty good. Some Thornhill and Javarius Ward, they're just a bad combo together. They were giving up a lot of passes on the same side of the field. Javarius Ward, I don't know what's going on with him. He was giving up a lot of comeback and underneath catches. It's either due to too much of a cushion or a slow break on the route. Not exactly sure what's going on. Hopefully that can get corrected. I kind of want to say it's more so due to the change in defensive scheme, and he's just having to think more as opposed to react. I'm really hoping that will change as the season goes on and he gets more comfortable in the defense. Our offensive line looked much better than a week ago. Last week, Pittsburgh was getting a lot more pressure on us in the first half. They really weren't getting a whole lot, or the Niners weren't getting a whole lot of pressure, which is huge because the Niners have a very, very good defensive front. So to keep our quarterbacks essentially clean was fantastic. But while I say that, while I said that our second team defense was doing pretty good, we weren't getting much of a pass rush against their offense in that second quarter. In the third quarter, our offensive line gave up a lot of pressures and sacks on our first drive. And then we ended up having to punt the ball away. San Francisco ended up coming down, and K-Pass had a huge sack on third down to force them to have to punt. And then with the Chiefs' second possession of the third quarter, Kyle Shurmur, by far his best drive of the entire preseason so far. They drove 97 yards, a very, very well-balanced mix of pass and rushing plays. On one occasion, it was 4th and 1, and Shurmur ended up taking the RPO for 15 yards and a first down. He looked very comfortable, especially coming off of the prior drive where he was getting hit and sacked a couple of times. And then Byron Pringle ended up taking it in for the touchdown. Not really much else to say beyond that. Fourth quarter, our third-string defense, fourth-string offense came in and definitely looked the part. The Niners were able to shut us down on offense. Chase Litton wasn't able to get a whole lot of rhythm going, wasn't able to put much of a drive together on his couple drives. On defense, the Niners were able to just chip away, pass, run, and just continually move the ball up the middle outside and eventually put it in for a touchdown, which put the game out of reach for us with 4 minutes to go. Overall, I'm not really too upset with the loss because I think that we went about the game in the right way. Our first string offense and defense came out and they looked good. Did they give up yards? Yes. But this is the NFL, and teams, regardless of their standing or their reputation, they're always capable of being able to put up points or move the ball. And I think that had this been a regular season game, we probably would have been able to have actually shut them down and come out with a win. But falling upon our third and fourth string guys, they just weren't able to make plays. And that's okay, because they probably won't be seeing the field for a long period of time. They'll just step in, give a guy a breather, or meanwhile the first string guy catches that breather, he gets right back in there and gets back to dominating. Really impressed with how D-Train and Damian and Darrell Williams all performed tonight. All three running backs were really, really good. Carlos Hyde didn't see the field until the fourth quarter, and again, really haven't seen much out of him. I'm kind of thinking that he's going to be a camp casualty or a cut casualty next Saturday. He ended up getting jumped on the depth chart by D-Train, and I don't see Carlos Hyde really putting together a whole lot to earn that spot back. I just haven't seen the flashes out of him. Secondary, Herb Miller ended up playing third, fourth string tonight, and he didn't really impress a whole lot. The one player who did really impress me on the defense, I think everybody was really looking forward to seeing, was Claiborne. And, he ended up getting called for one pass interference, but he really didn't get beat for a whole lot of catches, and he really stepped up and was making tackles in the run game. I thought that he looked fantastic, and his contributions was definitely well felt on the second team defense, especially in that second quarter. So Kansas City, thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll talk to you guys again soon here in a couple days. Have a great weekend. Laters.